When Venezuela was the richest country in South America, Venezuela was once the world's fourth wealthiest country. It boasted a 4% unemployment rate. Venezuelan tourists were known as the Give Me Two crowd. They'd simply enter a store and buy everything. Let's revisit those golden years. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves on the planet, more than 300 billion barrels. The quality of the oil may not be the best, but its reserves surpass those of Russia and Saudi Arabia. The country also has iron, gold, diamonds, and gas. There was a time when Venezuelans made the most of it. In 1950, the world was still recovering from World War II. Meanwhile, Venezuela prospered. It was 12 times richer than China, but it was still ruled by a dictator, Marcos Pérez Jiménez. He was deposed in a 1958 coup d'etat. Venezuela transitioned to democracy. Thus began a period of political stability. For over 40 years, two parties shared power. The economy experienced steady growth. The 1970s were particularly prosperous. OPEC was able to increase the price of oil. Venezuela, as its member, benefited greatly. In 1975, Carlos Andrés Pérez nationalized all the oil.
Today, oil moves history. We must move with it.
The revenue was used for funding social programs and infrastructure. New buildings sprang up in Caracas. GDP per capita was $7,424, trailing only the US, Switzerland, and New Zealand. But Venezuela wasn't just well off as a country, its people were making money too. This period saw the growth of the middle class. Unemployment was only 4%. Thousands of miles of new roads were built every year. Today, poverty affects 9 out of 10 Venezuelans. Back then, it didn't exceed 20%. Venezuelans flooded Miami every summer. As one Venezuelan talk show host joked,
Venezuelans thought of Miami as a weekend trip at the beach.
The bolivar was stable against the dollar. Venezuelans routinely jetted off on shopping sprees. They were the largest whiskey consumers in the world. They were also known for their catchphrase, Dame dos, give me two of those. Venezuela became a beacon for immigrants. It attracted people fleeing from Chile and Argentina. But what went wrong? The answer is somewhat predictable. Venezuela's economy became too dependent on oil. When oil prices declined, the economy suffered. In 1983, the bolivar started its downward slide. That was the first warning, but the Venezuelan government ignored it. It continued printing and spending money. Corruption grew rampant until things came to a head in 1989. The Venezuelan economy experienced a huge crisis. It triggered the Caracazo protests. People looted stores and rioted for days. The police didn't hesitate to use force. According to official data, 276 people died, but the real number may have been 3,000. The successive socialist dictatorships made things worse still. Inflation, crime, and government repression made Venezuela toxic. Nobody wants to invest in it anymore, and the once booming oil industry is in ruins. The oil is still there, but the associated wealth and comfort are just memories.